Hi there, my name is Leanne. I'm in the garden again. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel and letting me gush about my garden to you. I'm gonna share my April garden tour right now. Gotta have a little bevy in the garden. So good. I left you in March. That was my last garden tour. I'm only planning to be putting out one a month. Maybe I'll increase it sometime in the future. Not really trying to grow a YouTube channel so much as I really just want to talk about my garden more. Anyways, the point is you can expect a garden tour from me once a month. Here, I've got my garlic. It's doing pretty good. It seems to be turning slightly yellow since I added this compost top dressing. And I will show you, nothing is really growing that great in this compost. I don't think it's the compost's fault. I think it was too fresh. I don't think it broke down enough, which typically you want to put your compost down in the fall, but I didn't follow my own advice and I put it in late because I'm like, better late than never. No. But I'm still staying positive because I will have a bangin' fall garden. So here's example number one to why I think this compost was not finished yet. This bed where the garlic is the one with the least amount of compost, and it had no cardboard laid down this season. Laid down? I didn't put any cardboard down before I put the compost top dressing around the garlic. The garlic was already planted, already had its roots in the soil that was there. That's been breaking down. Wood chips, chicken scraps, or not chicken scraps, chicken manure. The tomatoes that I planted in this bed are the only ones that I have planted that are showing any growth. The ones that I planted in the two other rows are still the same size they were when I planted them. Maybe slightly larger, but not by much. I can very carefully see. I told you in my first tour last month that this would be annoying and that I would not plant tomatoes here, but I had so many. I wanted to put them somewhere. This is the biggest tomato that is in the garden right now. It's the Homestead variety. If you want a marker that won't fade in the sun, like this one's still fading a little bit in the sun, and my gardener has markers that are special for that. Homestead variety. This one's slightly larger. It's actually twice the size as it was when I planted it. They were really puny. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty sure I have 14 Homestead tomatoes. Holding out hope that I'll get some tomato harvest from these guys because they seem to be the ones doing the best. Over to this bed right next to it. All my seedlings I up potted in this compost, which again was a mistake. I did it because it was convenient. That's what I had. I didn't want to go to the store and buy more stuff because I just spent the money on getting all this compost. It was not ready. Everything got stunted because of it, but you can learn from my mistakes. Seedlings need to be handled gently. They can't handle what adult plants can handle. And this compost should have been put down in the fall still. Anyways, these are Black Russian sunflower seedlings. And that, I believe, is a spaghetti squash that volunteered because I laid all my compost down that I've been saving in my barrel, which is panning. Right there. I drilled holes in the bottom of that so it could drain. I put all the compost down and then I laid this compost that you see on top of my kitchen compost. All right, so the sunflower plants go until right here. And then I've got some puny basil plants. Itty bitty basil plants. We'll see how they do. They're all about this size. So even that spaghetti squash right there that's popped up, that hasn't grown much in like a week. It sprouted, grew 2 sets of leaves, and then stopped. But I still have some coming up. right there. That's another one. Oh, they're having fun, aren't they? Okay. Over here, I planted my peppers and Swiss chard. I forgot to water the Swiss chard for like one day, maybe a little more than one day, and while it was still in the cup. And this is what it looks like now, but it started to bounce back, so I think it'll be fine. Swiss chard, I have heard, is supposed to be a really good green to grow throughout the summer, so that's why I'm excited about it, to still get some fresh greens throughout the summer. My friend told me you want it to be about the size of your hand, like no wider than your hand, harvesting it, so that it's not bitter. If it gets much bigger than that, it'll be bitter. Over here are my peppers. Let me go on the other side because I've got the tags over there. I have a story first. I went camping, and on my way back, I stopped at this place called Carolina Gardens, and I was blown away. I will try to find them and tag them when I post this video. If you ever drive past that way, it is worth it. It was amazing. I have never seen so many different vegetable varieties at a nursery before. Whenever I go to the nurseries, mind you, there's like one near me that isn't like Walmart. So this plant nursery had habanero, jalapeno, cayenne, this variety called Carmen, a bunch of different bell pepper varieties, sweet banana, spicy banana, so many different varieties of peppers, and tomatoes on top of that, and basils, and so many different kinds of herbs. I had to really show some restraint. So I got 3 different types of peppers and the Swiss chard from them, and a yarrow plant that I showed you guys a minute ago. But this first variety is called Carmen. Sorry. You focus on that camera? Carmen, sweet Italian pepper. I told the guy, first I asked if they had paprika. He said no, but this Carmen pepper you could try it and it could be similar to paprika. Paprika is more of a spicy pepper, so I think it's gonna be pretty different, but time will tell. I'm still down to try a different variety, even if he was just trying to sell me something. So whatever. And then I got a classic California Wonder bell. Trying to get you to focus, but I can't because my hands are full. Okay. And then I got a sweet banana variety. So these are the bell, and those are the sweet banana. I've been told peppers like to be planted close together. So I have the varieties, the 3 different varieties, a little further apart from each other, but within the one variety, they're about 6 inches apart, maybe a little bit more than that. So we'll see how that goes. I might need to put a T-post in between to give them a little bit of support, but this should be great. I'm excited about this. We'll see if, since this compost has had a couple more weeks to set since I planted the tomatoes out, or like a week and a half, so it's really not that much time, but maybe it will do better for the peppers than it did for the tomatoes. I barely can see some progress in the tomatoes, but I'm holding out hope that it'll be a good year for them, because maybe they're just experiencing transplant shock. A week and a half, they should be starting to grow better now. So in like a week or so, I'll have a pretty confident answer to if they're gonna do good or not. At the base of this trellis, I planted my Armenian yard-long cucumbers. I put 2 here. I also sowed seeds, but those did not pop up on this side. So unless I'm forgetting and I did not actually sow seeds here, I don't remember. But here, we did have babies. Right there. Don't remember what they are though. And I think this is also an Armenian yard-long cucumber. Okay, these are extras of that same variety. Over here, I have tiger melons. I have some that I just planted today. The yellowy ones are ones I planted today, and the ones that are a little darker green that just sprouted, I sowed just under a week ago. Like that tomato plant looks pretty good. Berry towers. Green stalks come, excuse me. Green stalk towers, or this one anyway, comes with 5 tiers. I have the other 2 tiers to each tower. They're just not full of strawberries. Okay, so I have had one casualty. You can barely see its little stem right there. That one, it's still green and it's still got leaves on top, so I'm gonna leave it alone. This row is my San Marzano tomatoes. This one is a little bit bigger. I think I can say that with confidence. It has grown a little bit since I planted it, but it is not a nice dark green color. It's pretty yellow, which means it's nitrogen deficient. It's not underwatered because I have been watering them, and I'm not watering them too much. So, furthering my theory that this compost is too hot for plants. Over here was an experiment, big time. I had a bunch of potatoes saved from last year's harvest that grew super long eyes on them. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try it. So I planted them a week and a half ago. And they are all sprouting. Or not all of them, but there's a few gaps. But they're sprouting all the way down there. Also, this tomato row is the Dr. Witchies. I've got about 14 of each variety. This one's not doing great. Down this way, I sowed a seed mix, salad bowl mix from M.I. Gardener here, and only a few are popping up, and they're really not doing much after that. Over here, calendula, my drip tape got blown all over the place. I have yet to find a way to anchor it down. I have about 4 calendulas that sprouted, and still not doing much past that. Ooh, those mosquitoes are getting me. Now this grass looking stuff is black tip wheat, and then at the very end, teddy bear sunflowers. I was fighting with an ant while I was planting those. I had some extra teddy bear sunflowers that I planted over here as well. And I think I still have some more in the tray. From my leftover teddy bear sunflowers, I have a couple bags of potting mix that I'm gonna use to up pot those and give away. Over here, I found a patch of marigolds that had volunteered from last year. Marigolds drop so many seeds, so I'm always happy with it anyway, because marigolds are great. I dug 3 or 4 holes and planted my various types of squash in each hole around the marigolds, because last year I did that with my zucchini and it really, really helped. It was amazing. So this first variety here is butternut squash. This next one is winter luxury pumpkin. These are Long Island cheese. Everything looks really yellow. And then over here we've got Jarrahdale. The Jarrahdale pumpkin is like a dusty blue, kind of squatty pumpkin. The Long Island cheese pumpkin is a squatty tan pumpkin, but still really big and still really thick walls. I got enough puree from one pumpkin last year to make like 4 pies. And the winter luxury pumpkin is also a tan pumpkin, but more of a classic pumpkin shape and larger. And then butternut squash is that oblong squash. The meadow growing as well. I've decided to leave a lot of this just for now. I can't really easily get the mower back here without chewing up all my cardboard. Oh, look. The native jaguar. So stealthy. So agile. Last to show you are my fruit trees and bushes. Sad news about the peach tree. Most of the fruit fell off except one peach. Don't know why. It's a very green, almost said blue, very green, lush tree. But now there's just that one peach and all of this growth. So I'm gonna look up how to prune for the fall. Maybe give this tree and that tree a little bit better of a chance to bear me some fruit next year. Also, this one is a monstrosity. That elderberry right there up against the fence, there's like 10 plants there now, and I planted one 2 years ago. It's amazing. There's even some growing on the other side of the fence. I need to ask my neighbor if she wants to keep it. And lastly, the blueberries. They're starting to turn slightly blue. It's starting to rain. So this bush is pretty full, and so is that one. I'm not going to be able to make jam or anything, but definitely enough to have some snacks for a week. I repurposed my trampoline, or the old trampoline, for a little duck run. I'm going to cut the side out of a rain barrel for a little nesting space for them and give them a roost, because they're Muscovy ducks, which are like a goose duck that also roost like chickens. Okay, well, the rain is telling me to go inside, so I'm gonna sign off here. Thank you guys so much for letting me gush about the garden to you, and I will be back on here in May, and we will see if the tomatoes make it. One final note, these tomatoes were from the same tomatoes that I started indoors that I just threw all the ones that didn't look like they were gonna make it into this bucket or pot. And they're doing so much better than the ones I planted out in the garden. And I have no idea what varieties these are, so we're gonna let them grow and see which one wins.